past 33 years, I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Because it starts as soon as you open up your eyes in the morning or whenever it is that you start the day. As soon as you open up your eyes to greet the day, you enter into consciousness. It is at that moment that your creativity is at its most powerful. Right there and then, you have an opportunity to steer your thoughts and your emotions in the direction that you want them, not in the direction that they're telling you to go. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma.
Woo! Good morning, family. Rise and shine. Another blessed and grateful day. Super excited, fired up to be on here. Another day full of miracles. We are expecting abundance and we are getting it. Ready for the topic for today. Honestly, how great was that session earlier with Neno just now? Those 1% talks. Shane and Talina, what is going on? Talk about a woke conversation. Oh my goodness. I've been around a lot of savages in the past couple of years, but that was an absolutely phenomenal conversation. Somebody that really understands the time that we're living in, the power of what's coming, how crucial technology is going to be coming into the future, talking about the in-depths of blockchain, right? And it's so true. I was really just thinking about it. How many are getting into crypto and have never gotten this type of access to information? They don't even know what they're investing in. So it just goes to show I'm so thankful to be in a time and a place where we are connected with these individuals with this access, because I know we are setting up for what is about to be one of the biggest, greatest opportunities in history right here, right now. Deanna's in the building. John, what is going on? Mr. Nibs, I love it, family. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of gratitude down before we go ahead and dive into this topic. This is going to be a great topic getting into today, to go ahead and keep this week rolling on fire. We've had so many ka-ching, so many great things happening. So let's go ahead and keep the ball rolling. Let me go ahead and get live on IG, and it's game time. Choice, view, apply. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Grateful to be alive, family. I'm grateful for God. I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for the birds. Honestly, I've been getting really every day to really be able to get out here and be intentional with what is that we're writing, with what is that we're feeling, has been one of the biggest game changers, honestly, over the past 200. Where we at? Here we go. I got under here. 262 days. Go ahead and drop it down below. Shane and Talina has been on fire. Deanne, John, you guys have been absolutely crushing it. Lady Boss, Nikki, you guys have been killing it too. And I love to see it. So let's go ahead and get into it for today. You ready? Here we go. Jennifer J, give me like 5 minutes. I'll go ahead and let you get live. 42 days, 296. Give yourself a pat on the back, because I'm telling you, this is why there's so much happening right now, because seeds have been planted. And even just now, I love what crypto Phil was going over when he talked about creating our garden, right? When creating our garden, so many of us, we've thought about maybe cutting down trees, but the root of it is still there. And just like he talked about, a lot of us, we are not our thoughts, right? Because here's the deal. Our thoughts have been simply programmed by the environment that we're around, the people that we associate with, the music that we listen to. So to be able to really get still and figure out who it is that we are, to me, it's just going back and seeing it over the last handful of years. This is what it truly takes. It took me forgetting about anybody else's negative opinions, about anybody else really telling me I couldn't do this, and realizing that we can go out and create this life by design. So that was big. I love that topic. And rooting the tree. So essentially, when we root the tree, we're rooting away the negative thinking. We're rooting away the limiting beliefs. We're rooting away what has been planted in our minds by other people. And just like what he said, when something is rooted, the dirt, the soil is ready to be planted for something else, right? It's very tender. So it takes something to be filled with that. So I love that. The example of just being able to go ahead and pull out the old to implant the new. And that's exactly what we are, being consistent, showing up day in and day out. It is all compounding and adding up. So here we go. Let's go ahead and dive into today's topic. All right. We're going to be talking a little bit about the zombie consciousness, right? This is what Sean went over this morning. And I love this topic because there's never been a better time to really go ahead and touch on this right here and right now, because here's what happens, okay? We're at a point in the year where we're in April right now, okay? So we're in the 4th month of the year. So normally around this time of the year, there's been a lot of people who have set their New Year's resolutions to go ahead and go to the gym, eat a little bit better, drink our alkaline water, get up a little bit earlier. But here's what starts to happen as time weeds on, right? A lot of individuals, they start to fall off and they end up going right back to the same habits that was happening in December, in November, right towards the end of the year when everybody's like, I can't wait for this year to be over. Let's just wait for the next one. Well, people are backtracking, going right back to those old habits, okay? And for everybody, every one of you being consistent, this is going against the grain. This is why it's not easy, because we're going to be seeing a lot of individuals doing the exact opposite. So there's going to be a lot of intentionality, a lot of energy, and a lot of focus needed in order to really go ahead and maximize what it is that we have right here at our fingertips, right? So that's a big one. So check this out. So stick with me. He was talking about how we keep promises with others, right? You know, go ahead and raise your hand. Put some 3s down below if you guys have kept promises to others, right? If maybe somebody reached out to you and you were going to give some assistance. Maybe somebody needed a little bit of help and you told them you're going to do it, okay? Here's what happens. A lot of us, absolutely, right? We're there to help. We're there to give back. So even what I've noticed, we're there to help a lot of people, right? We're there to go ahead and give promises for a lot of people, and we follow through and we do it. But watch the difference, okay? How many of us right now, think about it, have made promises to ourselves, but we've broken them? See, this is where it really gets interesting. And for everybody, it's going to be different. Okay, it could be for our body. It could be showing up on the Go Lives. It could be making a consistent schedule. So you don't have to answer, but just think about this over the past couple of days, over the past couple of weeks, over the past couple of months, and we can all start to think about some of these promises that we've made to ourselves, and we've broken them, right? Nothing wrong with that, but it's having the awareness that's crucial to understand that for most of the time, this is where the gap happens. This is where the bottleneck really is, okay? And this is why it's so important, right? Shane, Talini, you guys are definitely currently doing this now. It's so important to track everything that we're doing, right? Because now when we track everything, now we can go ahead and stay organized and we can see what it is that we have not kept our promises with, right? Even on a calendar, to be able to have a calendar up and to be able to have certain activities to go ahead and check off, now we can truly keep track of where it is that we're at every single day, and now we can progress forward. So even for myself, this is something that I had to learn to do over a period of time. Organization for myself was a huge weakness, huge. So I had to figure out what it is that I'm missing, and what are others doing that are winning that I can go ahead and adopt for myself. I had to go out and I had to get a whiteboard. I had to go out and I had to get a journal, right? I had to start putting things on paper, get out of my mind and start putting things on paper, because here's the deal. If it's not written down, it's easy to go ahead and forget about it. Life gets in the way. We all have calls. We all have a lot of things that's going on. But when I started to truly put things on paper, when I started to plan my day before the day even happened, life started to change for myself. Because I used to always have all these promises I was going to do for myself, and life happened and I got overwhelmed, and I'd get to the end of the night and I look back, I'm like, damn, I missed this. I missed this. I didn't check off this thing off the list because I didn't write it down. So the second I really started putting things on paper, I started using Siri to go ahead and even set reminders so I could never miss any calls, any Zooms. It changed the game for me. But it took me realizing, where was I at in my life that I was making promises that I wasn't keeping to myself? And I had to write that down. I had to really get clear. And organization was huge. So I had so much going on. You got to think about it. As a Platinum 5000, at one point in time, my business was literally over 400 people, right? So it's like, how can I handle all of these things going on inside of my head? But I finally understood what got us here is not going to get us there. It takes a different level of action to get a different level of result for most of the time. Things need to be shifted. There's changes that's powerful when they're actually made. Okay. So So this is big. So let's go ahead and just keep going through a couple of bullet points as we go ahead and dive into this. Okay. The next thing he was talking about, ready? He was talking about we seek pleasure, but we also seek to get rid of pain more. Oof. And I really thought about that. We seek pleasure, but we also seek to get rid of pain more. Let me go ahead and clean this off for a second. Okay. There we go. So what do I mean by that? Think about this, right? Pleasure. Pleasure can be anything that go ahead and introduces serotonin into our brain, whether we're scrolling on social media, whether we're looking online at certain things. This is pleasure. But you know what's interesting? We're very similar with pain, okay? When it comes to pain, for a lot of us, and the way Sean put it this morning was so profound because he put it in such a way that just made it to a point where anybody's going to be able to relate, okay? Watch what I mean by this. We also seek to get rid of pain more, but here's the difference. The only time that we happen to move with pain is when it hurts bad enough. That's the issue, right? I don't know how many of you have ever heard the term, right? Those who've been around for a little while, but there's a story about a boy that's walking through this park, and he's walking through, and he sees this old man sitting down, and he has a dog that's next to him. And as the little boy walks up and he goes up to the old man, he goes to pet the dog, and the dog doesn't move towards him. He doesn't take any steps towards him. And the little boy asked the old man, he said, how come your dog doesn't move? I want to really pet him. And the old man says, well, it's because he's sitting on a nail. You see, the nail doesn't bother him enough to actually move. So the same thing happens with us in life. When the issues hurt bad enough, then for most of the time, we'll go ahead and take the action, right? Even think about going pee. This was such a cool example. A lot of us will never even, sometimes we'll be working until maybe it gets uncomfortable enough. So we're like, okay, I got to get up and I got to go actually take a pee. This is for myself. This happens to me. When I finally get uncomfortable enough, right? I'm like, all right, I got to get up. I got to make it happen. Then I'll actually go ahead and go to the bathroom. But the same thing happens in life, right? I'll never forget it. A handful of years ago, when I was living out of my car and I was in debt and I had all of these things going on with life, it took me getting to a certain point where I was showering LA Fitness. I had no food to eat. I was living a disgusting lifestyle inside of my car, but I got so sick and tired of being sick and tired that I was finally uncomfortable enough to say, you know what? Maybe I should start reading books. Maybe I should start taking notes. Maybe I should start listening to a mentor because my thinking is only getting me so far. So for a lot of you, I don't want you to get to the point where life hits you like a brick, where you get slammed against the wall to where you're like, okay, now I need to make a move. Now I'm ready to go ahead and show up on Go Live. Now I'm ready to go ahead and make some money. Now I'm ready to go ahead and be present every day. Don't wait to that point until life really smacks you. Like, okay, now I have to make it happen. The best time to really go ahead and take action is most of the time it's right now. When life isn't sucking everything out of you, when we have time, when we have breath in our lungs right here, right now, to be able to go ahead and make the most of it. Because when life is pressing, it's a whole different story, right? People change for two reasons, desperation or inspiration. Inside of the desperate side, it's a whole different level. To have to take action when you're desperate versus being able to take it right now when you're in a little bit more of a comfortable spot, right? For many of you, okay? So this is big. Some of you are in a desperate spot, need to make it happen, and you're going to make it happen. I was very desperate 5 years ago. I needed to pay bills. I needed food to eat. I need to be able to get by. So understand that every storm that you're going through right now, nothing lasts forever. It's temporary. But there are lessons that's going to be crucial to learn during this time, okay? Even for myself included. I'm experiencing these lessons as we speak, okay? So here's what he talked about, okay? The zombie consciousness, right? Being able to have a dead consciousness essentially is right here. Is the saying, here's what he said, is the saying, I should have done that. I told you, there's not a worse feeling for me than when I lay down to bed at night and I think about a couple big things that I needed to do. And I was like, man, I should have done that today. Drop a 2 down below if you guys know what that feeling is like. If there was things that are at the top of your priority list and you're like, oh, I knew I should have done that today. Okay? Drop some twos down below if you guys can relate. I've been there. Absolutely. I'm right there with you. This is the zombie apocalypse mindset. This is what happens when we're unorganized. This is what happens when we're overwhelmed. This is what happens when our mind is cluttered. This is why organization is so key. This is why really getting clear is essential. Okay? So here's what he said. He said, decide to not be in a zombie consciousness in these same habitual actions by becoming more aware and understanding that we have the power to go ahead and change what it is that we're doing on a daily basis. So here's what he said. Look at all of the patterns right now, okay? Write down all of the patterns that we have and write down two things. He said, write down, is this an old pattern? Is this a new pattern? Okay. And the second part, is this conducive to my growth or is this actually pulling me back? And this little question right here was so interesting because here's what he talked about. Most of the time, the habitual patterns that a lot of us have, they bring familiarity because our brain is looking to do two things, right? It's looking to go ahead and find the pattern and help us survive. But here's the interesting part about the pattern, okay? And I know this because I go to the gym and I've learned this over the years. You ready? You see what happens to the human body, okay? This is just physiology. What happens to the human body as we start to go to the gym, believe it or not, those of you that have went a couple times, you know what I'm talking about, okay? When you start to go to the gym, your body's going to do interesting things. What I mean by that is it's going to try and make up for it to do the least amount of work as possible to move that weight. How many of you guys have ever been to the gym and you've seen people like this? Right? This is what happens because our body's looking to go ahead and bring something that brings familiarity, bring something that brings comfort. But you see, the real way to actually lift is to be slow, methodical, and actually really feel the muscle. You see the difference, right? But this takes getting outside of the comfortability. This hurts a little bit more. It brings a little bit more pain. But this is where the growth really happens. So I had to look at this in all areas of my life. What patterns do I have that are familiar, that are very comfortable for me? I'll give you a couple of them for over the past handful of years that I've been able to pick up, okay? Number one was waking up late. That was a big issue for me. I used to always wake up late. And I used to wonder, why is it that so many are seeing success before me? By late, I mean like 8:30, 8 o'clock, right? Because I haven't had a clock in since 2017. So I started getting familiar. So I started getting up late. But I started to wonder, why are individuals passing me? There were certain things that they were doing that I was missing, right? And getting up late was one of them. Public speaking was another one. Even trading on a live account, yep, that's another one. Growing an e-commerce store, right? That was unfamiliar to me. That was a pattern that I needed to go ahead and break. But when I really started to notice all the patterns that brought me familiarity and comfortability, they brought nothing conducive towards my growth. So just like the tree, I had to be able to root that pattern, the habitual pattern, to go ahead and replace it with something new, right? Getting up earlier. Instead of eating, I used to eat a bagel with pork roll every day. I used to eat pork every day on top of my bagel until I realized I had to literally uproot that and replace that with something vegan, with something that's a whole food. So all of this started to change when I started to go ahead and put things on paper, right? Here's the next thing that he said, right? Inside of zombie land, right? So those that are in a zombie consciousness are those types of people that always seem to have distractions popping up. It seems like every day there's always something going on, whether it's family, whether it's work, whether it's relationships, okay? And I love the way he really started to put it. Ready? He said, when we live in our values, we step out of zombie land. I'm gonna say that one more time. When we live in our values, we step out of zombie land. What does this mean? As we start to raise our standards, our schedules start to change. The things that we were so used to and so easily saying yes to, we're now able to go ahead and say no to that and replace it with something new. Okay. Over the years, just like you all, I've had points in my business where I've been depressed. Things weren't working out my way. Things were not going out of my favor. And I started to go into a state, right, where I didn't want to do anything. right? I just felt really anxious every single day. But here's on the other side. You can look at the times that you felt really off, where you felt depressed, where you felt like life is hitting you like a brick. And then I want you to think about the other side. What does your life look like? What are your day-to-day actions when you're absolutely on fire? When you wake up and you're excited, when you wake up and you're taking action and you're smiling and you're saying hello and you're making new connections and you're putting out content, right? What does that life look like? And you can start to see the difference subconsciously. We have different values during those two different people, believe it or not, right? The higher version of you, your values are a lot different than the depressed version of us, right? The higher version has confidence. The higher version takes action. The higher version knows their worth, right? So this was big for me to understand over the years, because for a long time, I was in zombie land. I didn't have core values. I didn't have standards. But when I started to really adopt those, life started to change. My core values, right? I get up early. I'm a person that's consistent. I'm a person that's dedicated. I'm a person that's passionate about what it is that I do. So even for yourself, go ahead and drop some down below. What are some core values for yourself, right? If somebody were to go on your page and they were to summarize you in 4 values, what do you think they would say? Man, Shane, this individual is so consistent. Talina, she's always giving value. Deanne, on a day-to-day basis, she's go ahead and giving it all. What are some of the values, right? John provides excellent service. Your core values. Getting clear on this is really where the magic happens. Consistent, right? Cedric, I love it. Good stuff. Let's go. Honest. There we go. This is big. So if you know what it is that your values are, now you're able to go ahead and jump into that person as if you're already there. Now you can start really creating the individual, the superhero that's already inside. This is big. So I've got 2 more things for you. Ready? As we go ahead and wrap it up. This is big. You ready? So here's what he said. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a difference, okay? There's a difference between procrastinating, and it's so funny because we literally just did a call about this. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the live that I did with Tony. We just had a whole call talking about the death of success with procrastination. This is one of the biggest prohibitors when it comes to going out there and making it happen, right? Is the word procrastination. And I want to give you guys a breakdown because there's a difference, okay? There's 2 words that I want to touch on real quick. We have procrastination, and then we also have distractions, okay? We hear those words all the time, but now let me show you the difference. There's a huge difference. You see, a distraction is the individual distractions happening into our life. Maybe we get a call, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's work, maybe it's a relationship. These are distractions, okay? You see, procrastination is like a museum, and every art piece is like a distraction, and procrastination is the whole museum. So we have all of these distractions that allow us to end up procrastinating. And what is that we know? And what is that we know we probably could be spending more time doing? This is big, because even for myself, I used to call myself a perfectionist, but in reality, realistically, Sean, here's what Sean told me. He said, D, that's just procrastinating. You're not a perfectionist. You want everything to be perfect, but here's the deal. Done is the new perfect. It's never going to be perfect. Let me ask you this. What is perfect to you? And I remember sitting there, I was like, I don't really have an answer. He said, because that's the truth. There's no such thing as perfect. The more we do it, the more we get ourselves out there, nothing gets easier. We're always just going to get better. So I love that. I love that. And here's how I want to go ahead and end it off for today, is really digging deep, okay? When you find out the DMP, when we really figure out our definite major purpose, right? Even for myself, impact 1 billion, okay? We had somebody on the call this morning where her definite major purpose was she loves to help people, she loves to give back, but most importantly, she wants to be able to go ahead and feed countless children, okay? Now, Sean asked the question this morning. He said, well, it seems like, a lot of people get distracted on their journey, even if they have a DMP, but they don't have it clearly enough. Why do they get distracted? Why do they end up procrastinating? Okay. Here was the example that he gave. So she wants to give back to children. She wants to help feed countless children. He said, okay, I want you to picture this. So now I'm going to get into a visualization. Everybody just step into this visualization with me for about 2 minutes, okay? Stay with me for about 2 minutes. He said, I want you to imagine that you're already at your goal, okay? That you've already amassed this huge lump sum of income that you're now able to go ahead and give freely to countless children. And I want you to see what that feeling is like when you're able to travel to all of these different countries. You're out in South Africa, you're out in Ghana, you're out in Johannesburg, you're out in third world countries in the Dominican Republic, and you're out there passing out this food, and you see a crowd of just 50, 100 kids running up. Some have no shoes, some have no shirts, some have ripped jeans, and they're just coming up and they're smiling, and you're just handing them the food, and they're hugging you, and you're thanking them, and they're crying for everything that you've been able to do for them. How great does that feel? I got goosebumps literally talking about it, thinking about it right here, right now. Now we said, I want you to think about as you wake up today, okay? As you step into your superhero version today, imagine if you didn't take the actions, you didn't do the necessary steps today to go ahead and get yourself 1%, even a step further towards your goal. Guess what happens? All of those people that came and surrounded you are sitting there crying, begging, and you have nothing to offer. Your truck is empty, your pockets are empty, your hands are empty. And what does it feel like to see them crying and you've traveled all around the world and you have nothing to give them? Talk about really getting deep with your DMP. Talk about really being able to get emotional. This is what Sean talks about when it takes truly becoming successful, is really getting the emotion, the feeling. This is why they say the secret is the feeling. For myself, okay, I want to give you guys an example for myself. If I don't go after what it is that I know I can do, and if I'm being honest, okay, I can do more, right? Absolutely. Go ahead and drop some threes down below if you know that you can do more. If you know that you can put a little bit more into the field. I'm right there with you, okay? Here's what I've been able to do over the years. I've put myself inside, I've just noticed that I've put myself inside of this visualization a handful of times over the past couple of years. And Sean talks about, a lot of the mentors talk about being able to do this, okay? Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, they all have the same visualization. I want you to imagine the person that you love the most, okay? The person that's closest to you in your life, that fills your heart up with joy and gratitude and love. I want you to envision that person, and they were placed at the top of the Empire State Building. And if you didn't hit your goals for the day, they got pushed off the edge of that building. How different of an action would you take today knowing that? How different would you move? What type of confidence would we walk and step in if we knew that was the outcome happening today? This is why they say in order to have psychotic success, it takes being a little bit crazy, right? It takes being obsessed to really go ahead and get serious amounts of success, whatever it is that you want. So if that's the level that you're looking for, if you're looking for quantum leaps, I'm here to tell you, just seeing it from example, this is a couple keys that I've been able to watch multiple individuals do to go ahead and create these dreams into reality. It takes being intentional. It takes manifesting the right energy. It takes the daily actions. It takes looking at what patterns that we're familiar with that we can go ahead and deroot and go ahead and implant the new ones. So then with that being said, that's my training for everybody today. And if you are the one that you are the one inside of your family to go ahead and break the chains, to go ahead and break the curse of generational poverty, to go ahead and be the one to leave an impact for generations to come, drop some threes down below. Let me be the first to tell you, family, I'm proud of you. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you. This is the difference, okay? Most are not willing to do the deep work, to go ahead and do the little daily disciplines that's needed to go ahead and get to the next level. So I applaud you, okay? I know it's not easy. I know life seems like it's hitting day in and day out from different angles, but understand this is all creating us into who we are destined to be, right? Life is happening for us and not to us. The curse is over. I'm grateful for you, family. I appreciate you. And I'm so excited for what is coming because I know we are on the brink of greatness and we have the opportunity right here, right now. Listen to me. In a matter of 50, 100, 200 years, they're going to go back and they're going to write history books about the times that we are living in 2023, those that took advantage, those that really understood what we have in our hands to be able to create serious wealth, generational wealth for our family to come, serious impact for those that are coming next. So family, I love you. Let's go out and create. Let's go out and dominate. Be great. It is your favorite entrepreneur, Define Dreams. Remember, we can be, do, and have anything that we can hold in our hand. We can hold it in our mind. We can hold it right here in our hand. I love you, family. Let's get to it. Dream team, let's get to work. It's game time. July 9th to the 12th, Cancun. We have a couple days to go ahead and book your trip if you guys are ready to get locked in. TLX, the chat is inside the dream team. Let me know if you guys are locked in. Dream team, let's go. It's game time.